Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Tonight, we'll begin the conversation with a look at the continuous wave of defections shaking Nigeria's political space ahead of 2027. The New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, appears to be the latest casualty as 3 members of the House of Representatives from the Kwankwaso faction have defected to the ruling APC, further deepening cracks within the opposition camp, not just in the NNPP, but across the political parties in the opposition. Join us tonight to help us discuss what this means for the NNPP's popularity, especially in the northern part of the country, and the broader political realignment ahead of 2027 is Comrade Kabiru Dakata, who is also the Director General of the Kano State Signage and Advertisement Agency. But before we get to the details of the conversation and what this means for Nigeria's politics, let's bring you up to speed with the latest in the polity.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has addressed his confrontation with a naval officer, Lieutenant A.M. Yarima, over a disputed plot of land allegedly belonging to former Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, retired. Wike, while briefing journalists before the FCT Executive Council meeting on Thursday, condemned what he called Gambo's impunity in deploying serving naval officers to guard the property. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority says the planned 15% import duty on premium motor spirit and diesel has been shelved. In a statement on Thursday, the Director of Public Affairs, George Inaita, said implementation of the proposed duty was no longer in view. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki has urged the People's Democratic Party to suspend its national convention slated for November 15 to 16 in Ibadan. He warned that holding the event amid court disputes and divisions could deepen the party's crisis. Saraki stated this on X after receiving the PDP Board of Trustees reconciliation team led by Ambassador Hassan Adamu. The All Progressives Congress in the House of Representatives has gained 2 more members following the defection of Abdulmumin Jibril and Sagir Ibrahim Koki from the New Nigeria People's Party. Speaker Abbas Tajuddin announced their defection during plenary on Thursday, a day after PDP's Daniel Amos from Kaduna also joined the ruling party.
All right, some of the latest developments in the polity there. Just a bit of an update on the PDP development. Its Board of Trustees Chairman, Senator Adolphus Wabara, has doubled down by saying that the convention is going to go ahead regardless of all those concerns expressed by former Senate President Bukola Saraki. This is, of course, a developing issue just 48 hours before the planned November 15 and 16 convention built to take place in Ibadan. In fact, the bigwigs of the PDP have already arrived Ibadan. Some of them have already arrived Ibadan as the delegates prepare for their elective convention in the next couple of days. Let's bring the conversation back into the studio regarding the defections, the wave of defections that continue to hit Nigeria's political arena. NNPP, PDP, SDP, Labour Party. These are some of the political parties that are unable to keep some of their elected officials, especially in the National Assembly, under their umbrella or in their camp, as the case may be, with more of these defections taking over the polity. In fact, one of the PDP members in the plenary earlier in the day had asked for the protection of opposition parties because what is happening right now, according to that particular member, Jajere, I believe, is undemocratic. But let's talk about what's happening to the Kwankwaso movement and whether this is a sign of worrying things to come. Comrade Kabiru Dakata is here with us in the studio. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's good to see you this evening.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, let's start with your reaction to these defections, because it looked like you had a good showing. When I say you, I mean the NNPP as well as the Kwankwaso movement itself in the aftermath of 2023. But now your size looks quite small if you consider the people who are still under the banner of the NNPP. What is happening in your view?
Absolutely not. Quite small, as you said. But it's important for me to state that the Kwankwaso movement is never built around individuals occupying political positions. It was built around the people. You understand? So what we are seeing today is a politics as usual. Politicians moving from one political party to another. But the Kwankwaso movement has been a people's movement, not a politician's club. You understand? So as far as we're concerned, there's no cause for alarm. We remain solid. The movement is still strong.
Are you saying that because you're on the losing side?
No, not really.
I mean, I imagine if people were flooding into NNPP to join the Kwankwaso movement, you would say the opposite.
No, the strength of the Kwankwaso movement is in the millions of the ordinary citizens, the students, civil servants, retirees, youths, women, and what have you. So the movement draws its influence not from the corridors of Abuja, but from the communities. And yes, political office holders are decamping to the APC, but the masses are solidly with the movement because they have seen the impact of the movement, and they are seeing the impact of the Kwankwaso government under the leadership of His Excellency Alhaji Abba Kabiru Yusuf, the free education policy, the infrastructural development. Today, as we speak, Kano State has turned to like a construction site. And everywhere you go, construction going on. You understand? Free healthcare program, upgrade and construction of healthcare facilities, building and renovation of schools. You understand? So the people of Kano State are solidly behind the Kwankwaso movement because they have seen the impact of the movement, and they are seeing the impact of the Kwankwaso government under His Excellency Alhaji Abba Kabiru Yusuf.
But there are a lot of people listening to you right now and say, we've heard this before. I mean, it's happened multiple times. The people are behind the government until the next election comes, and then the reverse is the case. But in talking about what we're seeing right now, we've seen PDP downplay the defections. We've seen Labour Party downplay the defections. We've also seen the NNPP downplay the defections. What does that say about why they're leaving? Because they clearly don't see a home in the Kwankwaso movement, in the leadership of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. What does their departure represent as far as political body language is concerned?
It represents their personal interest. They are leaving because of their personal interest, not because
but they joined because of their personal interest.
Not on ideological ground. Let me tell you, for us as Kwankwaso, there is nothing strange. In 2015, the Kwankwaso movement delivered 100% of elective positions to APC in Kano State. What happened? Before 2019, Ganduje moved from the movement with all the political appointees and some elected officials, but it did not affect the strength of the movement. In 2019, he was defeated, but he used some, crude ways to get himself back to the office. In 2023, we defeated him. And you know what happened in 2023? The movement adopted a new political party, or I can say a weaker political party, because as at the time we adopted NNPP, it had no single elective position in the whole country. But we adopted it, and what happened in 2023? Our gubernatorial candidate emerged to be the highest scorer of votes among the elected governors in Nigeria. He was the only person that got up to 1 million+ votes in 2023. In a political party that was new, that was unknown before the election. That used to tell you it is not about the political party, it is about the movement that has been accepted by the people. You understand? That got its, influence from the people of the state. You see this red cap? It does not only represent a political symbol. You understand?
What does it represent?
It's a symbol of hope and service. In the remote villages, you see people wearing red cap, not because they've met Kwankwaso or they have met Engineer Abba Kabiru Yusuf, but they are feeling the impacts of the door during Kwankwaso's administration.
But what about the people that have left who say that there is a dogma in the Kwankwaso movement where Kwankwaso's views, politically or otherwise, is the last say? And even the governor himself cannot have an alternative opinion about it. Remember the former SSG, Bichi, re-echoed the same thing, right? And we saw the storm that happened last year before he left the government around how there is a growing dissent about Governor Kabiru Yusuf charting his own course away from the tutelage or the legacy of Kwankwaso himself. And to date, there are some who still consider those grumblings to be alive. As someone who is working closely with the governor and obviously who is loyal to Kwankwaso, what do you have to say about those concerns that Kwankwaso's leadership of the movement itself is questionable?
You see, Kwankwaso is a movement. Kwankwaso is a leader. It is far greater than one person. But we believe the principles of the movement are discipline, you understand, service to humanity, and sacrifice. Like I said, those people you are referring to left because of their selfish interests. And these are the people that said a lot of things against the APC. You mentioned the former SSD, Abdullahi Bafabichi. This is somebody that I know. Today as it is, I don't know anybody that hates Ganduje in the whole world than Abdullahi Bafabichi.
How do you know that?
I know.
How do you know that?
I know. The people that are watching this will know why I know. And
I mean, are you going by rhetoric, campaign rhetoric?
Not rhetoric.
Yeah.
Not
but
so.
How do you know?
Not
it sounds
so,
like
because you mentioned his name. That's why I'm responding to this. So I wonder how they could be just on the same side just because they are, regrouping to fight Kwankwaso. And the thing is, everybody knows that they will not succeed because any camp, and I'm saying this to other, political groups and political parties that are reaching out to NNPP and to Kwankwaso movement. Any camp that you're going to work with in Kano State, whether as APC, as ADC, as PDP, as whatever political movement or political party, if you don't work with Kwankwaso or Abba Kabiru Yusuf, you are just a loser in waiting as far as Kano is concerned. And Alhamdulillah, today when we talk of Kano politics, we are not even talking about Kwankwaso because he is too big for Kano politics. Like he said,
is he?
He is. He is.
I mean, take away Kano, there isn't much left.
It's not so. It's not so.
I mean, the election results says so.
Kwankwaso is a national politician who,
I don't doubt that he has a national presence. However, if you take away Kano, there is nothing left. Especially when we talk about election results.
What I always say, if you try to judge Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, distinguished Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, based on 2023 general election, that's the highest unfairness you do to him. Because even on the day of the election, he himself could not recognize the political party, the NNPP then, because the logo of the party was not well placed. So he could not recognize the logo himself.
He got over 1 million votes. Surely that's not going to be an excuse.
So that's what I'm saying. If you are going to rate Kwankwaso based on that election, then you are getting it wrong. He's a national politician. If you talk of Kano politics, you talk of our governor, Abba Kabiru Yusuf, is going to match all this bench of frustrated politicians, you understand, and politicians who forecast that they are not going to get the ticket of the NNPP, and some of them, if you can recall, were already dismissed by the party like Kofa.
Okay. We'll talk about the dismissal, but let's talk about the NNPP itself as a platform. We've had several times invited the leadership of the party, I mean, depending on who you're loyal to. Agbo Major had distanced the NNPP from the Kwankwaso movement, from Kwankwaso himself. He believes the Kwankwaso movement, under the leadership of Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, is toxic to the welfare and the well-being and survival of the NNPP as a political party. Do you think the Kwankwaso movement still has a home in the NNPP as things stand right now?
As it is, the Kwankwaso movement is in the NNPP, and it is the Kwankwaso movement that is controlling the NNPP, and there is no division in the NNPP. But that notwithstanding, we are heading to 2027, and there is, going to be political realignment. You understand? Political groups, political parties are reaching out to the movement, for possible alliance, and we are not against that. Anybody that is ready to, like what our leader said, we are open for discussion. Anybody that, is going to work with us, we are ready to work with that group. But the message I'm sending very clearly to those that are willing to work with any group, if your target is North, if your target is Kano, then don't waste your time. Don't go and work with other groups. If you are not working with the Kwankwaso movement, you are just wasting your time. And this thing I'm saying is...
You're saying Kwankwaso has Kano under lock and key. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you too, you know.
I mean, I know they're a force to reckon with, but I wouldn't go as far as to say they have Kano under lock and key.
If the election will take place tomorrow, I'm assuring you that Kwankwaso will get it 100%. For now, I cannot say which political party is going to be. But that's why I always say this. The Kwankwaso movement is stronger than a political party. You understand? The votes of the people are there waiting for the leaders to give the direction and for them to follow. If that direction will be given today, the people of Kano State will follow that direction, because for them, they are still owing the movement. The scholarship programs, people, youths who in their entire life did not go to the airport, whether for themselves or by seeing a family member off, were opportune to travel to UK, to US, to Canada and other foreign universities to study. Today, they are the breadwinners of their families. It is not as if Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, Abba Kabiru Yusuf, they know how to dress.
You're not saying that Kano has overcome all its challenges. Because even our reporting has shown that you still are dealing with a crisis of water supply, healthcare challenges, even in education, and most recently in terms of security. So, I mean, you're painting this El Dorado, but we know that Kano, like most Nigerian states, is also dealing with a huge problem. I mean, several of the videos online, I mean, one of them popularly made by Dembello, caught the attention of the governor. He had to make a viral video for the governor to take note of a school that is just a few kilometers away from the government house, about how dilapidated it is. So, I mean, on one hand, you're painting an El Dorado, but the reality is that Kano is still struggling to overcome its challenges.
Abdullahi, you're talking of Kano, that these structures, the school structures, the hospital structures you are talking about were sold at a time. When we came, during Abba Kabiru Yusuf, we started recovering those structures, bringing back those schools, bringing back those hospitals that were sold to family members of Ganduje and his political cronies. We brought some of them back. A judicial commission of inquiry for the misappropriated public properties and assets was set up by His Excellency. Ganduje went to court to stop the work of that committee. You understand?
Because the argument is that this is a witch hunt.
It's not a witch hunt. Why won't he allow the commission to work? Because he knows definitely he has some things that the commission is likely going to uncover. So if you're talking of the situation we found the states, you are correct to say things were bad. But as things are now, we're talking of Kano being the best as for the NECO result recently released.
Now you're just cherry picking. Now you're just cherry picking. I mean, just yesterday, just yesterday we aired a report about worsening malnutrition from Kano. I mean, poverty is still at an all-time high. The out-of-school children they are still dealing with, despite all the incentives in the education sector. So there are still challenges, and I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair if you concede that this is a work in progress, and it's not like you've completely sorted out everything.
It's a government. Government is a work in progress, but I'm saying what we inherited and the situation at hand. We're coming best in some indices, you understand? In terms of ranking, Kano is becoming best in NECO result. In terms of primary health care upgrade, you know, in terms of free education generally, scholarship, you understand? We are doing best, considering how we met the systems. We met a very bad situation, bad system in all the sectors.
Right.
You understand? But today, what are we seeing? His Excellency receiving several awards for being the best governor in infrastructure, for being the best governor in healthcare, for being the best governor in education. And people that know Kano will tell you, today, go and see what's happening in Kano. For some of us that are occupying political positions, especially an office like mine, that has to do with collective revenue for the signage and billboards. Somebody will come to you to say, I came to pay the fee for my signage because I'm satisfied that the money we are giving to government is being used for our development. The infrastructure is everywhere. Roads are being constructed. You know, the bridges, schools, everybody can see that.
Right.
You understand?
How then does that translate? I mean, you talk about the performance of the Abba administration, and I think while it may feature in this conversation that we're having today, the bigger picture is the movement itself and Kwankwaso's politics, because over the last few months, the conversation was that he is negotiating a deal to move back to the APC. And the other side from Kano, i.e. the Ganduje side, we're trying to push him out, make sure that he doesn't join the APC winning train. What is the position of your leader when it comes to weighing his options? Because as you did say, you're willing to work with everybody, and that's what you hear from someone who is looking for a new destination. Usually people who are confident and comfortable, they would rather have people join them instead of joining other people. So what's the reality of the situation? Are you looking for a new home?
You see, our system is very organized system. The Kwankwaso movement is well coordinated, and I believe at an appropriate time, if there's any updates, the public will know. We have well-structured system with our leadership, like in Kano, we have our chairman of the party, Dr. Hashimu Dungurawa. You understand, His Excellency has his media team at an appropriate time.
You mean the factional leader?
There's no faction. There were supplementary elections generally. Go and check the ballot papers in places where the elections took place. You check the NNPP's logo and see whether you see the book or you see something else. You understand? So there's no, you should not allow anybody to deceive you. There's no faction. In Shanoni and Bagway, supplementary election, our candidate won the election. Today is in the Kano State House of Assembly. You understand? Those that are being paid, the so-called faction in the party, you understand, being paid, being promoted, and being sponsored by people like Ganduje. They are tired because they understand that they cannot win the battle.
I mean, why do you keep throwing the accusing finger at Ganduje? Because some would say the fallout of the NNPP says a lot about Kwankwaso's leadership style. That the manner in which the party has fallen out, despite its victories in 2023, says a lot about his inability to keep his house in order.
It's not
Why
so.
are you blaming other people?
It's not so. You understand? What we see is just betrayal. You understand? People coming, and you see, Kwankwaso is a human being. And every human being has his own strengths and weaknesses. And Kwankwaso's strong weakness is that his open-mindedness. That is open, he can deal with people, and they can easily deceive him. Unfortunately for him, he has already won the support of the masses. You understand? The masses are blindly with him because they believe he represents what they believe in. You understand? He represents the justice that they expect, and above all, they are beneficiaries of his leadership style. Not just when he was the governor of the state, but for mentoring somebody that is now doing exactly or even better than what he did when he was the state governor. You understand? So they see...
Yeah, but the question is, politically speaking, when you come to a house, you speak to the head of the house, who is in charge of the affairs of the house. And if you see any sort of waywardness, I'm trying to use an analogy that would narrow the conversation down. When you see any sort of waywardness, he's been the national leader of the party since the Kwankwaso movement joined. He made the party popular, which is not debatable, was partly responsible for most of the successes that the party got in 2023. So if he's responsible for all the good things that has happened to NNPP and the Kwankwaso movement, surely it makes sense for him to also take responsibility for things falling apart.
What you see, there's no case of dominance here. It's not as if he is dominating anything. It's just a mentorship.
You're making him look like a political Superman. So that's why I'm asking you the question.
Of course he is. But that does not mean he has his own weaknesses, like I said. You see, there's no dominance in the system. It's just a mentorship. He mentored someone that has now taken over, or that is now doing exactly what he did, or even better than what he did when he was a state governor. Even as it is that we took over from somebody that drilled. I'm sure you know that Ganduje too was a member of the movement. He benefited from the movement's, strength in the state. He won under
Some would say Ganduje was part of the founding members of Kwankwaso movement.
No doubt.
Right.
No doubt. But he drilled. He betrayed the system. And he saw the consequences.
Right.
Yes.
By the way, just as a quick segue, we see them in this picture over the last 24 hours. They're smiling, they're laughing. Is the politics of the day making us believe that they don't like each other? Because they were very friendly in this picture in their visit to former Governor Adamu Azu in Bauchi.
You see...
Not sure if it was in Bauchi or in Abuja, but yes, they paid a condolence visit.
I think there's nothing personal from the side of Kwankwaso. You understand? If there's any disagreement or misunderstanding between Kwankwaso and Ganduje, it's not personal. It's just because the Ganduje betrayed the trust of the people. And like I said, he got that trust, he got the mandate under the platform of the APC, but he leveraged the strength of the Kwankwaso movement. You understand? Of course, you see them shaking hands, smiling, but then when it comes to the, politics of Kano State, the people of the state know who is who, and everybody knows where the support of the people is.
Talk to me about people who have notably been behind Kwankwaso over the last few years. I mean, he's losing some of his closest lieutenants. Ganduje, to my recollection, is one of the longest political ally the Kwankwaso has had. I mean, you look at some of their pictures, these people have had a close personal relationship long before the Fourth Republic. But most recently, the defections. Honorable Abdulmumin Jibril Kofa just left. And what he had to say is obviously telling, because we've seen him with Kwankwaso in the Asal Rock Villa. We've seen him say a lot of things about the plans of the Kwankwaso movement. What do the departures of these close allies represent for the future of the Kwankwaso movement itself, especially if we have to consider 2027?
It means more space for other loyal members to come and, try the best, be given tickets to contest elections, and by the grace of God win and represent the movement and the good people of Kano State at different levels. You see, yes, like I said, the movement draws its influence from the communities, you understand, not from the corridors of Abuja. Politicians, office holders can move, but people are solidly behind the system.
I mean, these people also have supporters. When Honorable Jibrin left the red cap, exchanged his red cap for the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's signature cap, I mean, he reportedly had 2,000 clerics, thousands of his constituents, whom he said were responsible. In the House of Representatives, when Ganduje was there for the announcement of the defections.
It was a rented crowd, I can assure you this.
How do we know that there's a difference between their crowd and your crowd?
Because in Kwankwaso movement, everybody knows, because even when the movement did not have a government, it still did not change anything. People were contributing money. You understand? People in the villages.
So when it's your opponent, it's a rented crowd. But when it's your turn, it's because people like you, because people want to support you?
Because in the case of Kwankwaso, it was done not once, not twice, not when there was a government, not when we were in opposition. It will not change anything. Like I said, people see the movement, they feel like they are still owing the movement. So they continue to control. It's like every day is a payback period to Kwankwaso by the people of Kano State.
So in talking about 2027, because that's where the conversation is going to culminate, the talk of what's happening with the coalition, Kwankwaso has not necessarily pitched a tent with any of them. Not necessarily PDP, not necessarily ADC.
No.
But, and going back to the earlier question about, which I feel you technically dodged, is the question about if you're still exploring a working relationship with the APC.
You see, like I said, I'm not here to speak for the party. I'm not here to speak for the Kano State government. I'm not here to speak for our leader. I'm here to say my mind as a member of the movement.
I was specifically asking about the movement, not necessarily NNPP.
I believe, like I said, groups, political parties are reaching out to us. And I believe our leaders are going to do the needful, because as it is, going to 2027 general election, there is need for this alliance. But whoever is going to benefit from that alliance, I'm telling you, the party or the group is going to get it at the end of the day. Whoever gets the support of the NNPP or the Kwankwaso movement, the group or the party going to get it at the end of the day. And your question of the people we are losing, quite all right. We don't, for us, it's a work in progress. We will continue to educate, mobilize, engage. You understand? We are at the moment mentoring young leaders at the grassroots, strengthening our grassroots structures. You understand? So for Kwankwaso movement, is like everyday work, 247. You understand? People are our doors are open. You understand? So these things now that they are doing, some of them, they thought those leaders at the national level, the Tinubus, the leaders at the ADCs, they don't know what's happening in the state. They know. They know all those bench of frustrated politicians. You understand? One side, Kwankwaso and Abba Kabiru Yusuf, with us, their followers. One side, they know who will get it at the end of the day. There's no question of prediction here. It's a reality.
You're making it look like the only group with supporters or with public support is Kwankwaso and NNPP.
Take this to the bank. You can take this to the bank.
You don't think the APC is any threat whatsoever?
Unless if Kwankwaso, Abba and us are in the system.
Right. The only way any other political party can win
come
Kano
back after election
is if Kwankwaso and Abba Kabiru Yusuf
any
are on that
movement,
platform.
any political party that does not have Kwankwaso and Abba in it, forget about Kano and Northwest.
Which in a way, I believe, makes the case for the point I made earlier about Kwankwaso's political dominance limited to just Kano. Because
I say Northwest.
Yeah, I mean Northwest?
Kano and Northwest.
I mean, is there any other state in the Northwest that is dominated by the NNPP?
It must not. Did Tinubu win his state? It has.
The governor of the state is on the platform of the APC.
Did he win?
He's won the election.
He won the election, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
The fact that somebody did not win a particular state doesn't make him unpopular in that state or in that region. You understand? Let's present the facts.
I mean, considering that elections or politics itself is a numbers game, and we've seen your ranks depleted. I believe you only have one senator now in Kano on the platform of the NNPP, if I'm correct, Senator Hanga, right? Kawo Samaila has left. You already have the Deputy Senate President on the platform of the APC. In the House of Representatives, it's almost a flush now with the defections that have happened in the last 1 year. You'll say that these departures do not mean anything. But in the final analysis, it's a numbers game.
Abdullahi.
These people have supporters, have relationships at the local level, people who trusted them, not just because they're in the Kwankwaso camp, but because they represent the yearnings and aspirations of their own people. Do you believe that this is going to cost your movement something, no matter how little you may think it is?
And, you know, I think I cannot pretend that it's not going to, you know, pain us. No matter how irrelevant somebody is, you will not like to miss that person. But politically, like I said, when somebody is poorly performing, like some of the House of Representative members who decamped, some of them were privileged to know that they were going to be dismissed from the party, or they will not be given a ticket ahead of 2027. So they started misbehaving, looking for ways, you know, and like I said, one of them was dismissed, Kofa, and some of them were privileged to know that they will not be given the ticket to recontest.
Why?
Because they poorly performed.
Less than 2 years?
Yes. Is it not in less than 2 years that Abba Kabiru Yusuf got more than 20-something awards nationally and internationally? 2 years is 2 years is not a small time in a period of governance. Right. So they poorly performed. So
who decided? Who decided that these individuals are not going to get tickets for 2027?
They are constituents. Some of them reported to the leader. Some of them reported to the governor that they are not representing them. You know, every year I know you journalists bring a scorecard for the House of Representatives members, or generally the National Assembly members, to say Mr. A presented so number of bills. Mr. B presented so motions and what have you. Some of them that decamped in the 2 years period presented 0 bill. You understand? And they were not, in the 2 years, they were not making themselves available for their constituents to interact with them. So, and the Kwankwaso movement is grassroots movement. You understand? When you are elected to represent the people, it is expected that you avail yourself to be interacting with the people. They don't do that. And people have been reporting to the leader, to His Excellency, the governor.
Right. I mean, essentially, if I get the gist, is that Kwankwaso has taken a look at their scorecard, and for one reason or the other, he's displeased and he was planning to kick them out.
No, not planning to kick them out, but they have seen the sign.
That's what you just said.
They have seen the sign. That's what I said. They have seen the sign.
But is there any other political party, to your knowledge, that has one person calling the shots? One person calling the shots about who gets what?
It's a mentorship. You understand? And that's why things are getting worse in some political parties, because there's no discipline.
Such as?
I don't want to mention names. But,
you can't just generalize and say other political parties are such a mess because they don't have a strong man.
In our case, it's like I said, it's not the case of dominance. It's a mentorship. And we are happy. We are seeing the results.
But you know, it's not a personal endeavor.
It's never.
These people have constitutional mandates to go and serve the term.
Let them go and get the ticket in the APC. I'm telling you, the crisis they are going to meet there. Hey, you come here and tell me one
day. So you don't envy the APC and the strength in numbers theory. You see them growing from strength to strength in the National Assembly. They're taking over states that they didn't win in 2023. You are not worried?
I'm not.
As a Kwankwaso?
Because as far as we're concerned, which party won the initial election? It's NNPP. So if another election will take place tomorrow, the same thing will happen. Like I said, some of them, especially those that come to the APC, are just former members in waiting. Come 2027, you will not see them in the National Assembly by the grace of God for 2 reasons. Number one, some of them will not even get the ticket. Let me talk about the recent one, Sagiru Koki of Kano Municipal. He's not even going to get the ticket. Who is he? And if he was deceived to sign any agreement, he wasted his time, because those people do not respect any agreement. And they have their people. Even as it is now among the APC's members in the Kano Municipal Constituency, there's a crisis. Bapa Badang Agundi wants to contest the House of Reps position. Muntari Ishagi Akase wants to contest. Shaban Ibrahim Sharetta wants to contest. Comrade Ungwargini, the protocol essay to Ganduje, wants to contest. You understand? All these guys are strong.
But that's none of your headache, right?
That's what I'm saying. My prayer is for them to go and kill themselves politically. What's my business?
Well, I mean, that's your prayer. But
yes,
it doesn't look like they have any problems to deal with at the moment.
Even if they are united, they can unite among themselves. But the people in the constituency are with the Kwankwaso movement, are with our leader, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, and with our governor, Alhaji Abba Kabiru. So there's no cause for alarm for us.
Why is... I mean, Kano's politics has always been tense, has always been driven by a lot of passion. But there are some people from the outside looking in, even people from within, who are really concerned about the turn of events. We've seen what happened with the balkanization of the emirate. We've seen the standoff between the state government and the police. Kano, with its rich cultural heritage, has had to shelve Durbars. We've seen multiple Eids from different factions. Do you worry about the unity of Kano as a state because of the nature of the politics?
Absolutely, I do, especially if you look at the role of Kano State in the northern Nigeria. And it's like the state is presenting a model. And that's why when Ganduje was doing all this you mentioned, some concerned leaders of the states drew his attention. Unfortunately, he refused to listen to them. And some of these things now, even moving to other states, like issue of vulcanizing the Emirates. It's now happening in other states. But all these things now happen or rooted from the bad leadership of Ganduje. You were asking me why am I mentioning names. You know what happened. You understand? Ganduje misused the opportunity given to him to serve the people of the state. You understand? He, even if not because of the effort of His Excellency now bringing the image of the state back, you understand? Wherever you go, now I'm in Abuja, anywhere I go. I was at a restaurant yesterday. After eating food, I called the cashier to come and collect the money. He said, somebody paid for you. He said, because you are wearing a red cap. I didn't even see the person. You understand? This is the current image of Kano State indigents anywhere they go.
Is it Kano or just Kwankwaso? I mean, there's a difference.
They
make it sound like everybody in Kano is a Kwankwaso supporter or member.
Of course, you can have some, you know, insignificant percentage of people who are not members of the movement. And like I said, the red cap you see is not just a political symbol. It represents hope and service. So even the movement is no longer a political movement alone. It's like a development consortium with different branches.
Right.
Health branch, education branch. In the for the health branch, you have what we call Laipi Ajari. The education branch, we have Kwankwaso Scholars Assembly. We have reorientation, you know, the CRC, community reorientation. We have Kano proper.
Bottom line, Kwankwaso movement is still waxing strong.
It's still strong.
Okay. As a final thought, before we wrap things up, what are the chances, if you have to give me on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highly likely, that you, alongside many other supporters, could be changing your red cap to the infinity sign by next year? What are the chances of that happening?
Wherever we go, we will not remove this cap. The red cap is our symbol. Like I say, it does not represent politics. It represents hope, service, and sacrifice. So wherever we go, I'm not saying we...
Maybe you keep this side red, the other side, the
whatever
infinity
it's
sign?
going to be, and we are waiting for the directive and instruction of our leaders.
But you're open-minded about
it. At the national level,
it.
His Excellency Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. At the state level, His Excellency Engineer Abba Kabiru. So I'm saying this because if you can remember, at a time, His Excellency Rabi Musa Kwankwaso said, if not because of the disappointment of Ganduje, he wouldn't, you know, be wasting his time talking of Kano's politics. You understand? And alhamdulillah, he has now gotten that, and he left the Kano politics and leadership for Abba Kabiru Yusuf. For Kwankwaso, we are talking of national political control, and he is there. So whoever is going to join, you know, forces with us, we can do that. It's politics, but we will not remove the red cap.
So you will not be disappointed if tomorrow you're back on the same page with Ganduje and everybody else on the other side. You will not be disappointed.
No, but I believe it's just like what brings one to a particular place. Like the video you presented of Ganduje and Kwankwaso met at Amadou Adama Azu's residence. You know, it depends. Everybody will be wherever he is with his character and what value can the person add. We don't mind. If destiny brings us to APC, we'll be there. And everybody will be there to present what he
and I suppose you would apologize to Ganduje for everything.
There's no apology.
For everything you've said about him.
Apology. We all know, but all these things we say are facts. Right. So we all know body apology.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Rather, he might even be the one to apologize to us.
Right. Let's see what the next couple of months, if not a year, would present us regarding the politics of not just Kano, but the politics of Nigeria come 2027. Comrade Kabiru Dakata, thank you so much for joining the conversation this evening. I appreciate you very much for stopping by.
Pleasure is mine.
Right. That is all we have to offer for tonight's edition of the program. Daily Politics returns tomorrow live and exclusive on Trust TV. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.